honestly wrestling with these days. I'm wrestling with this idea of how our clients feel valued. About a year or so ago, it was suggested that I read the book Giftology. It's a short 2-hour listen if you're listening to an audiobook. And Giftology is basically it's a practice of active listening to your clients and to your business partners and associates so that you can listen for ways that you can surprise and delight them with a gift that is meaningful to them, not necessarily meaningful to you, right? He talks in this book about, hey, many times we like to send, a tumbler or something like that with our business logo to our client. Wouldn't it be better if we sent it to them with their logo on it, right? So that we're creative people. We have access to their logos. How about we do that instead? How about we give them a gift that's more personal and directed to them because we are practicing that active listening? And I was having this conversation with one of my clients recently on a trip about how gifts, right? When we think about giving someone a gift, I think about the book by Gary Chapman called The Five Love Languages. And gift giving is only one of the 5 love languages. Now, I love gifts. If you give me a gift, I will feel appreciated and valued. But that's not true for everybody. And so I started to dig in and I started to have conversations. And even this week, as I'm recording this podcast, I started sending just a simple survey to my clients to go, hey, if it's not gift giving that makes you feel appreciated, what is it? And so I think there's this appreciation language that has not been tapped into yet, right? There is a book out there of the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace that Gary Chapman co-wrote as well. Fantastic read. I think that's a great read for culture, taking the 5 languages to inside the organization. But what I'm talking about here is B2B businesses, which most creative businesses are, B2B businesses that have long-standing partnerships with other businesses that they serve as their clients. How do we let them know? How do we have them feel that we're intentionally appreciating them along the way and we see them for the person that they are? We are valuing the people that we work with instead of just the projects that we work on. And so I went back to the 5 love languages and I started to ask myself, okay, well, what are the other 5 love languages, right? One of them is words of affirmation. Well, that totally makes sense to me in a business context, right? They feel valued when you recognize them verbally, even more so if it's in front of a crowd, right? You compliment their vision, you celebrate their wins verbally, and you tell them what they're doing is great. That is a words of affirmation client appreciation. So no different in the 5 love languages as it is in this B2B context. The second one in the 5 love languages is acts of service, right? And I think this is totally applicable in the B2B context of client appreciation as well. They feel valued when you go above and beyond the scope, right? We call it sometimes surprise and delight without being asked, right? You notice a problem and you went ahead and fixed it without being asked. You bring solutions that they didn't even request. Those are acts of service. And then, of course, there's gift giving. This is what Giftology is kind of centered around, right? They feel valued when you remember them in a very specific, intentional way with a thoughtful, specific, well-timed gift. Not swag, but gifts that prove that you're paying attention. One of my favorite ones we ever got to do with one of my clients is we were on a kickoff call with one of our clients, and he was running a little bit late, and he kind of came in disheveled. He's like, I'm so sorry. My 8-year-old daughter just started playing soccer. It's her first season, and we just got home from her first practice, and so it was a little bit chaotic, and then we got right into it. Well, I immediately wrote down here in my remarkable 8-year-old daughter just started playing soccer. And after the call was over, I called my client and I said, hey, did you hear what I heard? And he goes, yeah, 8-year-old daughter just started playing soccer. I said, great, what should we do? He goes, I think we should send her a pink soccer ball. So we did, which was amazing. It showed up to the client's house, said, hey, this is for your daughter who is starting her soccer journey. We value you as a client. That is thoughtful, well-timed, specific gift giving, and that's what giftology is all about. So gift giving in the 5 love languages definitely translates into the 5 languages of client appreciation. Then in the 5 love languages, there's quality time, and this also directly translates into the 5 languages of client appreciation. Quality time is they feel valued when you are present with them, not just working for them, right? A longer call, the occasional lunch, the out to the ball game together, the personal visits, the check-in that isn't about a project at all. Those things mean the most to those clients. So quality time is an actual client appreciation language. But then in the 5 love languages, the 5th one is physical touch, right? And that's weird, especially when we're talking in the context of client appreciation. There's not really an instance where physical touch would be really appropriate from one business to another business and that type of working relationship and partnership. And so I got to dig in a little bit deeper. It's like, what is missing here out of the 4 love languages so far and the 4 languages of client appreciation? What is missing so far? And the thing that kept coming back to me over and over again as I was having these conversations with my clients and other business owners is this word advocacy, right? Then what this means is, right, they feel valued when you champion them and their business beyond your engagement, right? And this often looks like a referral, right? You refer business to them. Hey, I have a client who is amazing at XYZ, and I have a friend who needs XYZ. I'm going to connect the two of them together, and I'm going to tell my friend, before you look anywhere else, look over here because these guys are the best. That's an advocacy, right? They feel, and that's going to let that client of yours feel valued because you championed them beyond the engagement, right? You referred that business to them, you promoted their work, and you treated their success as your own. It felt good when they won the business of your friend, even though transactionally speaking, you're not even in it. You just connected the two together, and that client feels valued. That is the appreciation language of advocacy. And so I don't know if this is where it's all going to land. This is just where I'm sitting at right now. And so when you're onboarding, I want you to remember these appreciation languages, because when you understand how they feel valued, then you can strengthen the bonds of that client relationship so much more. Now, this is what I'm kind of